Hello YouTube, my name is Tag and welcome back to Gyakuten Live. So in the last video, we started episode 4. It was, well, it's a bit different this time. I guess the best way to say it, we got introduced to a whole new cast of characters. And the crime this time is way more dire than what we used to. There isn't some like, petty thief or like, oh no, someone spiked my bread. Oh no, this time it's actually super duper like dire the situation. But yeah, uh, let's just jump into it and let's see how bad the situation can get or how much worse it can get. Okay, so I downloaded the newest update because apparently it's made a change. I didn't spoil myself on what the new update did. All I know is one change is they changed the life points, the little LP ball we have, and that's about it of all I know what they changed. We'll see what else they changed. I'm looking forward to this because I really love playing this game. I just hope that whatever happened is not what actually happened, and it's all like she didn't do the murder. I don't want that to be the case. But who knows? Maybe this will be like we played in the past 5 years ago, and then we return to the present, and we get to play as you again. Because I do miss playing as you. But it's fine. I do like the new main character for this because he breaks the fourth wall, and that's kind of funny. It's really funny. Oh great, the black hole's back. The expansion's been about trial, day 1, part 2, event horizon. The monster is as dark as darkness itself. Invisible against the void, it hunts just beyond the edge of perception. Should you draw too close, the resistance becomes meaningless. Once that unseen line is crossed, the only fate is to be devoured by the singularity with no chance of ever returning. I don't know what the black hole has to do with this. We'll see. Okay, May 29th, 11:19 a.m. Courtroom. Okay, it's me and her. Judge. Court is now back in session for the trial of Kawamoto Misato. Prosecution, it was up to you to prepare the witness to testify. Has that been done? Oh, how was she? She was like, hold it. It has. There's a significant gap in the defendant's memory, but she should be able to testify about anything before the attack and anything after she came to. Unfortunately, amnesia is a finicky thing, and the sense of discontinuity seems to make her very antsy. I'd say she's at risk of going into shock or having a panic attack, but calling her up was my idea. What's that supposed to mean? I must warn you, just because you offered up your own client to testify, doesn't mean this will be easy for you. You may think that you've gotten some leeway, but you'd be wrong. You've released the bursts that keep you on the ground, trying too ambitiously, not understanding that the ground was the safest place to be. Feels like liberation until you realize too late that the upside down spike guys of the skies are floating above you. The upside down spikes of punishment ready to end your miserable illusion of freedom. I already used the Paris analogy today. Andiamo, let's get this party started. Okay, she's back. She's back on the stand. Welcome back to the witness stand, Misato. How are you feeling right now? Not as bad as before. I think your advice was helpful, but I'm still nervous. I can't shake the feeling that my memory won't be reliable enough. There's so much stress and pressure, I can't take my promises. I can't make any promises. Look at me, Misato. Will you promise me one thing? What is it? Maybe I was a bit hasty when I rejected the plea bargain, but I have my reasons. Still, even in the worst case scenario, I'll try to make sure that your reputation is protected. In exchange, don't worry about whether you can or can't. What matters right now is that you give it your best shot. Believe in hope, okay? Oh, not that silly line again, Karoko-senpai. But okay, I'll try my best. Hopefully she can calm down a bit. The last thing I need is for her to choke and understand due to stress. Enough with the sappy nonsense. I think we should first answer what happened after the attack. Defendant, tell us the earliest thing you remember about the gap in your memory. Alright, I hope this goes well. After the confrontation. Just as a reminder, the last thing I clearly remember before the gap in my memory is staring down Hayako-san while holding the shovel in my hands. Everything afterwards is a blur, but the next thing I can remember is being in the parking lot of Sea Paradise. There was a walled off area to the side with construction signs. Didn't the prosecutor say that there was construction going on there? I must have been near the ocean because I could hear waves. I guess the cliff Hayako-san was found under was nearby. I can't recall if I knew if he was there at the time. The only thing I can remember is that I wanted to get back to the inn as soon as possible. I punched in the coordinates in my GPS and headed back. When I got there, I actually checked in and looked for Ai-chan. Fortunately, she was safe and asleep in our room. Wait, what? You were at Sea Paradise? I was, but I'm not the killer, I swear. Objection. If you don't remember your own actions at the moment that Hayako's death happened, then you can't rule yourself out as the killer. Your opinion, it means nothing. What? That's not good. But to address this somehow. I know that Misato would absolutely not have guts to ability to commit murder. I've got to figure out how I can explain this away. That's quite the revelation, defendant. Did you have any other locations logged on your GPS? No. On the day of the murder, there were only 2 entries on my GPS, both of them being Tochiman Inn. The first one is when I drove to Tochiman Inn with Ai-chan. The second time is when I drove back after the confrontation. There isn't anything else. Hang on a second. What made you choose to go to Sea Paradise specifically? There's no GPS entry for Sea Paradise. How did you end up there? I can't say I know. That was occluded by my amnesia. I'm sorry. Hold it. I think it's blatantly obvious that the defendant simply blindly searched around until she found a suitable place to park her scooter and dispose of the body. It was happenstance. Sea Paradise is just down the street from Tochiman Inn. I have no qualms about believing that the defendant randomly ran into it while driving around. Definitely looks bad. Misato promised to believe in hope. I've got to do the same in turn. Since Misato is missing a lot of context here, I should try pressing her to see if I can open up any opportunities to find a contradiction. Okay. I've got this. I hope. Oh, the ball looks different. The ball's red. That's cool. That red goes to black like a hair color. Anyway. I gotta fill in some gaps. Feels weird pondering to myself instead of pondering with Misato for a change. Let's see. As daunting as the situation feels, I need to work under the assumption that Misato would never commit murder. There must have been another reason she ended up in Sea Paradise. First, I should try pressing her for more information. Perhaps one of her statements doesn't make sense, but without digging a little deeper, we wouldn't know. Hiroko-senpai, why are you moving around like that? Muscle spasms? Yeah. Let's figure out why she went to the aquarium. I don't know why she was there. Your scooter was parked in the lot. Was there any way for your scooter to access the cliffside? I'm not sure where the cliff was, but where there was a curb around the parking lot, I wouldn't have been able to drive the scooter to the cliff. That's so. In that case, I'd like to bring up the following question. How would Misato manage to get Hayako's body all the way from the parking lot to the cliff? Have you forgotten that the defendant could simply have dragged the body to the cliff and turned off of blood because the rain would have taken care of that? Right. There was no blood on me, otherwise I might have pieced together what happened a lot earlier. Perhaps the defendant would like to help her client out. Got any ideas? Perhaps. Is there anything I could present that suggests that any blood on the ground or Misato's body couldn't have been washed off by the rain? What's my evidence again? I was gonna say, no way I doubt evidence. Well, yeah, there would be no blood on her, so I can't say that. I will eat a penalty if I'm too hasty here. I should think this through before trying to act anything too bold. Let me see if I can get her to say why she was the freedom. At the time, did you realize you were at Sea Paradise? Or no? It was really dark at the time, so I couldn't see any signs. To be honest, there's a chance that I'm mistaken about where I was at the time. Most of the lights were off too. I guess it's because of the construction. The aquarium or whatever it was would have been closed. What you're saying is, there's a chance that you weren't actually a sea paradise at the time? Don't count on it. The fact that this building was also under construction suggests that they are the same establishment. There's a lot of development going on in the small town, so it'd have to be a hell of a coincidence otherwise. It's safe to assume that the defender was a sea paradise. Perhaps the defense would like to help a client out. Got any ideas? Perhaps. Is there anything I could present to show Misato wasn't actually a sea paradise? Nope. I don't have any. I need more evidence. I need more evidence. I need the evidence. Okay, Shkudio ways. Maybe I can figure this out. Were there any other vehicles or people present? If anyone else was around, they might be a potential suspect. No, I was totally alone. It was quiet, dark, and awfully frightening. Like I said, it's likely the defendant was randomly driving around looking for a place to dump Hayako's body so it wouldn't be found. The paradise is currently practically abandoned and is near the ocean. It's the perfect location for a murder suspect to toss a body. If the defense would like to help the client going up, is there anything that I could present that I could show that Misato is actually alone? No, I can't. I need more evidence. So how long was the drive back to the inn? Too long. The inn was right down the street from where I was, so it was maybe a minute or two. It's weird though, even though the drive is only a couple of minutes, the cabin memory is way longer. If I'm understanding correctly, it has to be at least an hour long. A whole hour? What could have been going on for a whole hour if the drive was so short? Lots of things. The defendant was waiting for the roads to be cleared of witnesses. Perhaps the defendant drove in the other direction before finding Sea Paradise. It could be anything. I know you're thinking of trying to say someone else did this, but the simplest solution is often the best. Okay. Is there anything that I could present that could fully explain why it took a whole hour for the situation to play out? No. What does this say again? Just make sure. I don't think there's anything. Okay, I'm pushing away everything up. Oh, I don't know. We're just shift, isn't that? Why just a little kid? She managed to check in by herself? The room was booked and paid for. So all I-chan had to do was show the room was hers. He's very smart, and I'm sure she made friends with Shima-san and Mito-chan's baby sister while I was gone. Yeah, nice to see her not stressing out. I don't think she needs any help with this one. It feels weird pondering to myself instead of pondering with... Okay. Can you describe the scene for us? In particular, did the victim lower her mask like we discussed? Well, it was raining, and I was cornered near a faulty light pole as Hayako-san approached me. I don't think I remember seeing her lower her mask. I think she had her hand on her mask, as if she was preparing to lower it. I'm not sure. Sorry if that isn't helpful. I thought I could remember, but I couldn't. Knife throwing is unreliable on this point. Wonder if there's something else. Perhaps. Is there anything I could present that could fully explain whether or not Hayako's mask was lowered at the time of the confrontation? Mask on, in the neck, blood will get on the... Blood will splatter on the bottom here. That would make sense. Things are looking so bleak. Can't show the drawing doesn't have the mask, the drawing's unreliable. I don't think I can use... I don't think I can show... I don't think I can show... Yeah, I can't show ice throwing. Ice throwing is unreliable for this point. So what do I show? Even if it's so bleak, I don't have much. Okay, she was alone. I mean... In the neck... Actually, if you hit in the neck, The blood wouldn't splatter. Okay, let's see if I can get this. Alright, I think I can explain whether or not Hariko's mask is lowered, and it's with this. No, okay. This will help fill the gaps in Misato's memory. Not quite. The details won't match. They won't make up well enough. Oh man, really? I could have sworn I was onto something. Did that happen next defendant? Okay. Okay. Let's think. I'm first on everything, so it's not. Based on my evidence, I don't have much evidence to go off of, so. There's not much I can find. For sure. I'm sure that you wasn't. I forgot. Is it this one with the blood? Is it this one? Oh yeah, I do. Actually do think I have this one. Alright, I think I can explain the lack of blood on the ground. When we started with it, ends with this. There was blood. Okay, there was blood. It was on the cliff. Wait a minute, prosecution. You were saying that there was no blood on the ground or Misato's body because of the rain at the time? Got a problem with that? She was obviously wearing waterproof clothing at the time due to the rain, so any blood would have washed away, right? Washed right off. I do have a problem with that. Look at the crime report. It says that blood was found on the cliff. You're telling me that rain washed the blood off of Misato, but not the cliff? I find that hard to believe. But blood was indeed found on the cliff. How could the rain not have washed it away? It wouldn't have. By the time Hayako's body was dumped at Sea Paradise, the rain had stopped. You're right. You can't have one without the other. How could it be that there was no blood on Misato's body then? The victim certainly fell off the cliff. I would once again like to make my previous suggestion that Hayako survived the initial encounter with Misato. How she ended up falling off the cliff anyway? I don't know. However, I'd say that this casts reasonable doubt on the case against my client. The real reason Hayako fell off the cliff is unconnected to her. False. Dragging a body doesn't require much physical contact. It's not as if the offender was carrying the victim, so she was likely simply very careful. Oh yeah? You were at Sea Paradise the morning after the crime, and you were the one who found Hayako's body. Did you find any blood along the ground? Admittedly, no. I didn't find any blood at Sea Paradise on the day after the murder, except the blood on the cliff. In that case, the murder couldn't have occurred at the way that we've been thinking. Is that right, Evans? Yep. The only way it could have happened now is if Hayako was alive or at least uninjured up until she got to the cliff. I think that's where the story stands. Okay. What is that noise? Oh, that's my phone. My parents are looking for me. Evans, did you want to take a moment to take the call? Not really, no. No? Nah, let's just get back to the trial. As I was saying, the lack of blood at Sea Palace indicates that Misato couldn't have dragged Hayako's body to the sea the way we thought. And that's assuming it even happened at all. Don't get cocky. It's very possible that the defendant simply banished the wound with a rag or something, so it didn't continue to bleed openly. To that narrative, the blood on the cliff could have been from you wounds caused by the damage sustained from being dropped off a sharp rocky cliff. It's a very disturbing mental image. Defendant, how long is the gap in your memory? If you had enough time to repair the body before disposal, then you would have been able to prevent blood trails. Um, Honestly, at least an hour or so. The rain has stopped and my clothes have mostly dried. It had to have been a good amount of time. Your clothes couldn't have dried if it was the night, because the night is cold, especially if you're close to the ocean. There's no way. An hour? I suppose it's plausible the defendant had time to dress the victim's wounds. Well, since we have a narrative of what happened after the confrontation, maybe a good time for the defendant to testify more clearly about what happened before the confrontation. Oh, right. That was Misato's earlier testimony. That was what Misato's earlier testimony was about, but she got cut off due to the gap in her memory. Misato, can you testify about the events leading up to the confrontation with Hayako again? Just stop yourself before your memory gap, but do try to be as detailed as you can. Okay, I'll see what I can remember. On the night of the murder, I arrived at the inn with Ai-chan rather late that night. I parked on the ground floor of the parking place just across the street. Our luggage was in the cargo bed, so we tilted it to lower our two luggage cases to the ground, as usual. I could also have opened the side gates of the cargo bed, but I'm too weak to put them back up. My scooter's cargo bed is modified with a motor. It takes a bit of time to reset the cargo bed to its original position, so Ai-chan offered to take our luggage to the inn while I stayed behind for a bit to reset the bed and put our helmets away. While I was doing that, Ayako-san approached me, and I really did think she was Kuchi Sakawana. And then she referred to me by name, and she said she had been looking for me. I thought I was going to die. So that's when I ran across the street to the inn. I grabbed the shovel, then I don't know. To be honest, I'm not sure if Hayako-san ever did lower her mask, but I do remember her putting her hand on her mask at the time. Or maybe she did lower it during the gap in my memory. Yeah, but how does she know you? How does she know you? She referred to you by name? Were you being targeted? I don't know, but it really did feel like it. Recall that the defendant also felt a sense of duty to protect her sister. If you were in her shoes, would you kill to protect your loved ones? I know many who would. But was killing really the only option? Wasn't there some other way for Misato to escape? I don't think fighting back would be the first thing she would think to do. I don't know what else to do. When Hayako appeared, she was between me and my scooter. I wouldn't have been able to get to it. If that's the case, could it be that Hayako deliberately waited until Misato was alone? What did she want with from Misato? Okay. So, on the night of the murder. So, she was between her and the scooter. First things first, I want to know how she knew your name. Wow, how was she able to refer to you? She knew your name. How? Have you ever met her before? No, I've never seen her before in my life. I have no idea why she knew my name. Misato, can you remember exactly what it was that she said to you? I should be able to. I think it was something like, "Are you the one known as Kawamoto Misato? I have been looking all over for you." She said that? Was there anything else notable about her voice? Well, even though I only heard her say two sentences, I'm pretty sure that she had an accent. In fact, I think she had the same accent as Miss Prosecutor, but I can't say for sure. Imagine she's not dead. This is actually her. It would be so funny. Fascinatingly irrelevant. Continue with your testimony. Interesting. Don't the wrong button. Okay, well, I mean, they can't match unless she's wearing colored contacts and she dyes her hair or something. I mean, there's no way they're the same person. Imagine, oh my god, can it be another comedian case with someone disguised? And you said that when she appeared, Hayako had already positioned herself between you and your scooter, right? Right. The route to my scooter was cut off. I could only run in the other direction, which was in the direction of the inn. But even if I could make it to my scooter, I wouldn't have fled. There was no way I was going to leave Aichan unattended as long as Kuchisaka Onna was around, even if she was inside the inn. In that case, there was no reason to consider going back to your scooter at all, was there? I guess you're right. My mind was racing, and I wanted to consider all my options, yet still respond quickly. It was intensely stressful. I wouldn't say that Kuchisaka Onna can outrun a motor vehicle. Not that Hayako would have been able to do that, but I wonder if that's another reason Misato decided to fight back instead of flee. So, at the beginning of the gap in your memory, Hayako had her hand on her mask? Something like that. Again, it's all a blur, like static. I feel really anxious whenever I try to remember stuff from that point. But I wind a bit though, I'm pretty certain that she was holding a mask. Wouldn't have been able to tell you why. At that moment, did she do anything to indicate that she would take the mask off? For example, maybe she was short of breath and wanted to lower her mask to breathe better? Not from what I can remember. No, I don't recall her ever asking, am I pretty? Either. And that's the last of what she can tell us. Time for us to work with what I've got here. Reading Misato's testimony is more or less what I expected, and more or less incriminating for her. Won't get anywhere if I take all at face value. I might have to dissect the information in your statements piece by piece. Any small, seemingly random detail could mean the difference between victory and defeat. I might have to think of beyond what's being said explicitly in the testimony and consider what's being said implicitly. For all the evidence in the world, and I still have no clue. So much. Think about it. Okay, let's just see if I can get more information. Why across the street? There was no space in the inn's own parking lot. The inn doesn't have a parking lot, just a driveway. I suppose you expect to park elsewhere and walk over to the inn. Yes, a parking structure was built next to the inn after locals complained about parking shortages during tourist seasons. I hear that it had to be kept small so that you didn't interfere with the natural sights too much. In any case, it's a good thing that the parking place isn't far from the inn. It's literally right across the street. It takes maybe a minute or two to get to the inn from there. If only Misato had been able to safely get from the parking place to the inn, none of this would have happened. What do you mean by side gates? Cargo bed is like a big box with an open top. Normally you can undo some latches on either side of the cargo bed to lower the entire side. But since the side gates are a lot longer than the tailgate, they're too heavy for me to put back up. That's why I usually prefer to just tilt the whole cargo bed. I just need to pull a lever for that. Not as difficult. So that explains that. But also, was there anything else in the cargo bed? Not really. It was just our luggage. And actually, there were also some straps. I had to strap down our luggage cases so they didn't accidentally bounce out of the cargo bed during transit. Also, I detached the straps and put them away when we got to the parking place, so maybe that's when Hayako-san snuck up on me? You think? So it was due to having to take care of the straps that you got separated from I? Well, it wasn't just the straps, because... Your cargo bed is modified? Yeah, ordinarily, you'd have to then lift the end of the cargo bed to tilt it, but it's too heavy for me. I got mine specially modified to tilt with the push of a lever, though it's a bit slower. And how did that conversation with I go, exactly? Well, Aichan loves to help out whenever she can, and she enjoys pulling the wheeled cases. Since the inn was nearby and I thought we were alone, I figured it was safe to let her go on ahead. It was raining outside and it was really cold. The cargo bed turns rather slowly, so I wanted her to head through the rain and into the inn as soon as possible. I just didn't think that all of this would happen. That makes sense, I think. That's probably when Hayako showed up, huh? And when you saw her, Ayako looked exactly like in the photo presented in Kokoro. More or less, she definitely had the mask on, and she was wearing something stylistically similar to her outfit in the photo. And what about her hair? Did it look like her hair in the photo? It was shaped like scissors, wasn't it? certain she had the scissors hairstyle, but I have no clue how Hichan could have missed that in her drawing. But I'd like to know too. Why didn't I draw the scissors? Surely she couldn't have missed Hayako's prominent hairstyle. That's everything, and I have still have no clue what to think. Wait, can I see the prosecutor? Man. Yeah, I'm not presenting, I'm looking. Look at that zoom in. I'm really pushing on the fact that I'm like, oh, they're the same person. But they're the same person. That's what happened. I don't believe. I mean, they had the same accent. So I can choose to believe. I will choose to believe that. Anyway, let's figure out something. What evidence do I have? I don't really have evidence, and she has no information to add to this. There's not much to go off of. Shovel. The shovel's broken. We have the mask. The mask with that on it. We have this drawing. Doesn't really help. And we have her. This woman that's supposedly dead. No, not much for evidence. How does she know you though? Can I should work? This is so dumb. I wanna see if I can. No, okay. Break the fourth wall. Okay, yeah. Break the fourth wall. There goes my life points. My life points. Okay. Think. Really, it's not a person that can help. How much this go off of? Okay, so she arrived at the inn. She's 2 weeks. Okay. Okay, with that. It's more focusing on the part where got approached. It's more the part that give like probably the more information. How is she looking for you? Like, why was she looking for you? Okay. That information. It's that part. Actually, wait, can I? Oh man. I thought maybe like, oh yeah, I can just prove. I can just prove. I did push on that, right? I did push on that part, right? I did, okay. Make sure I got the right part. I'm getting close to this. Is it her? Nope, okay, well, okay, stop pushing now, stop pushing the button. I'm so close to dying. Come on, I'm like, so like, oh yeah, they're the same person, they're the same person. After what happened with the chameleon, I can't believe anyone's the same person now. You need to know the context of this photo. I find it hard that she hit hard enough to break the shovel. I'm missing. I'm definitely missing something that I just can't put my finger on. Either I'm on the wrong statement or I'm on the wrong evidence. Surely they're the same person. Surely. Okay. Wait, what's this? So that's me. I end up put it in. I grab the shovel and then I don't know. But I knows. Oh, okay, well, I die. I die. Kill me. Okay, thank you. Let's go back to this again. Put me back in, coach. Back in, coach. Okay. Oops. It's implying, okay. But I mean, the implication is that she knows. This person knows her. No, okay, but she knows her. I'm trying to figure out how. I, surely this is the statement because she knows her. That the Hayako knows Misato. So surely there's like a thing. There's surely like a link between them somehow. Like, oh man. Okay, I'm gonna stop horsing around now because I'm dying again. I went through all my evidence now, so it's like something outside the box. It's not the person. I tried both these people. Yep, shovel. Surely I have to get I on this case. Nope, okay. I'm gonna die again. I'm gonna die again. I'm not that bad at this, I'm just thinking. My evidence is so... I have so little evidence than what I'm used to for this. Okay, let's go piece by piece. She got to the inn. She got to the inn and they have a parking lot just across. We don't care about that. We know that she has like a thing for a cargo bed for the suitcases and they were strapped. We know that a scooter cargo bed has things at a motor she had to wait for, and that's when she was struck. And then, you know, yeah, Ayako approached her, and then she knew her name. She got a shovel, and no moss fluid. That's the shovel, that's the gap in her memory. Okay, I'm dying again. I'm gonna die. Think, think, think. Like, I'm close. I know I'm close. Like, I know I'm on the track. I just don't know what they want from me. What do they want? What do you want from me? Um, give the evidence. You have the date and time. Okay. Basically, this gives the stuff. That's the shovel. Broken. And there's blood on it, so... Into the mosque, where the mosque was found. You see paradise. Oh, yes, see paradise. Ice drawing. I bet ice drawing has something for this. Wait. Continue to observe the scene from after the attack in the driveway before checking in. Oh, come on. I'm convinced I need. I'm convinced I need I-chan. I'm convinced I need I for this. I like to admit, but I need I. I definitely think I need I. This is like okay. She's like for 20 minutes after the attack. Before she didn't check in immediately. She didn't check in immediately. They got there late. Come on, please. Let me just get this. I think she's important. I think we need her. Like I'm sure I knows majority of the information that we're just missing. Everything. Implicitly. What do I mean implicitly? So is it this? I figure is the point which is about talked about I. So maybe that's what I need. Yeah. This is the point where I mentioned. That's where I was mentioned. This is what I mentioned. I was like, oh, you know what? I can show the drawing. Maybe I is like relevant now. Nope. I don't bang my head against the same thing over and over and over. Ah, come on. Please, I know I'm doing something. Okay, well, I'm gonna shoot myself. I don't want to look this up. I'm not looking this up. I refuse to look this up. I am too stubborn to look this up. I will figure this out. If it's the last thing I do, I will figure this out. I will bang my head against this. I'll cut and I'll come back. Okay, I think I got it somehow. I somehow got it. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of mashed a bit for finding clues. So it was on the first statement she said about like parking the scooter, and then I pushed the shovel, presented the shovel, and apparently that's like the answer. I don't know how. I don't know how that's the answer. We'll see. Okay. I just mashed. I'm gonna be full honest. I literally mashed through everything. I had to redo this so many times because I mashed the wrong answers. Wait a second. Didn't you park the scooter right across the street so it wasn't far from the inn? Yeah, I did. Is there an issue? Actually, there is. Remember what the prosecution said when the shovel was introduced? The blood on this thing was the only blood was found within 2 blocks. If the parking structure was across the street, then it would have been within 2 blocks. Yet no blood was reported to have been found there. Are you, are you goofy? The rain was still falling at that point. This fact has been stated over and over and over and over and over. Ad nauseum. The blood was washed away. The end. Roll credits and copyright information. Not so fast. Misato stated that she had parked on the ground floor of the parking place. It wasn't just an open lot. It's better. But if the defendant had to specify that she parked on the ground floor, then that means... There's going to mean only one more thing. Misato parked inside a multi-floor parking structure. And since she was parked on the ground floor, there must have been a floor above her. The area she parked in was completely untouched by rain. You're right. I hadn't even realized. Since Misato's vehicle was parked in the parking structure under the previous narrative, Hayako's body must have been brought there as well. Yet not a single drop of blood was found there. Once again, I'm going to reiterate the narrative that Hayako actually survived Misato's attack. No corpse, no blood. Once again, I'm going to reiterate that you're full of assumptions. Why should the defendant drag the body all the way to the parking structure? Instead of bringing Hayako's body to the scooter, it's much simpler for her to bring her scooter to Hayako. There, issue resolved. Yet at the same time, this whole interaction took place in the middle of the night. I would have clearly seen the lights on Misato's scooter. More hogwash. Haven't you considered that the defendant would move Hayako's body to a more secluded location before driving the scooter over? Hide the body. That's worth any more do immediately. Now you're the one with the assumptions? All you're doing is constantly moving the goalposts with no foundation for your arguments. Stop fighting, please. Order? Cavallo? I don't have a gavel. Well, this is a conundrum. The lack of blood is causing more problems than I ever expected. The only blood that was found in the small amount was the small amount on the shovel and the tiny amount bit on the mask and the bit on the cliff. But there must be more, right? I can't have helped but shake the feeling that we haven't found it all of it. Unfortunately, due to the rain, both the victim and the defender were wearing waterproof clothing. The rain would have washed any blood off fairly easily. Otherwise, we may have found a bit more. Misato, is that really true? Wasn't there anything on you that could have a bit of blood from the confrontation? Well, yes. What? I'm sorry, I didn't bring this up earlier because I don't have it anymore. The evidence is gone. But on the day of the murder, my outfit was indeed waterproof, except for my scarf. She was wearing a scarf? It was awfully cold on the night of the murder. I can see why the defendant would have wanted a scarf to stay warm, especially if she has a weak immune system. But if the scarf would have been soaked in blood, it also would have gotten soggy from the rain. It's unusual for someone to wear a non-waterproof scarf when it's raining. Well, the thing is, I wore it tucked in, sort of like how the prosecutor's wearing her scarf right now, in fact. It's weird though. The blood was on the tip of the scarf. The tip would have been tucked into my jacket. Looks like there's a few things we have to figure out. Defendant, would you testify about your outfit on the night of the crime for us and the victims if possible? Alright. Please, I don't want to struggle more. Our outfits on that night. When I arrived at the inn, I was wearing a tan-colored waterproof jacket with snap buttons and matching waterproof pants. My hood was up at the time to cover my head. Like we discussed earlier, I had my hair clipped up in a bun to fit on the hood, but I think my hood fell off while I was running to the inn. After all, I transferred my bun. The only thing that wasn't waterproof was my scarf. I was wearing it tucked into my jacket, and I'm not sure when or how it fell out. Somehow, there was a bit of blood at the end of it. I didn't I didn't notice at first because the scarf was also red. And then, I washed the blood off. I'm sorry, this was all before I knew there was going to be a trial. I didn't want anything to try to keep it as evidence. As far as I'm concerned, while half was very sparse, whether or not it was waterproof, I don't know. But I don't think we can confirm either way if a body's gone. Seems reasonable enough, although I do wonder how the blood got in the scarf, if it was tucked in. We'll figure it out during the cross-examination, hopefully. Let's get the show on the road. I must remind everyone that this entire tidbit could very easily be fabricated. We have no physical evidence that any blood ever got on the defendant's scarf. Alright, we saw the scarf must have fallen out at some point, but could a tuck scarf just fall out of like that? They don't come out so easily. Well, the prosecutor brings up a good point about the lack of evidence. I can't rely on the testimony too much unless there is evidence that shows that part of Misato's testimony holds water. Okay, the outfits on the night. How do I... Okay, let's think. I don't like how... My dress clothes, she pulled it out. Imagine. Okay, I think the best thing first to get information. The picture again, I see the picture again. Okay, I mean, yeah, to be fair, she didn't look clothes. I can't just be like, oh, no clothes, no nothing. Let's think, thunk. Okay. So, your scarf was tucked in the whole time up until the point at which your memory fails you? Yeah, I don't remember it falling out ever. Even as I was facing Hayako's with a shovel in my hand, I'm pretty sure my scarf was still in place. But what about after? After you found yourself at Sea Paradise, was your scarf tucked into your jacket? Yes, it was. I don't know why. I guess I tucked it back, at some point. I don't know. Oh, what really happened? She wouldn't have had any reason to untuck a scarf at any point, would she? How much blood was there exactly? It was kind of hard to tell, but if I had to estimate, probably just a few big drops worth. That's what I remember from when I noticed it at least. So it's consistent with blood splatter from a potential injury to Hayako. It would have come from Hayako, right? Yes, but how? I'm pretty sure my scarf was stuck in the whole time. It'd be hard to, for my case, if it really was blood splatter from Hayako's wound. First, I should answer how the blood got in the scarf in the first place. You also sure that the scarf did fall out at some point? Like, I guess she got... That's not been pulled. Surely it was pulled. You destroyed the evidence? Nick, I'm sorry. I didn't know. This was all before the trial. Once I noticed the blood, I was so disgusted that I had to clean it out. Oh, I hate the sight of blood. Recall that the squealing right brought up the possibility of the defendant deliberately returning the victim's mask on her face in order to spare herself the vision of the victim's visage. The defendant clearly has an aversion to gore. If she was eager to wash out small amounts of blood from her scarf, then she also have wanted to hide them mutilated mouth, assuming that the victim did have one. Even if she didn't, there's still an explanation that the defendant simply tossed the victim's mask off the cliff while disposing of her body. Everything is consistently difficult. Nothing is going the way I wanted to. I said, perhaps I can show that Misato did wash blood out of her scarf. Can I do that? It would bring credibility to this testimony. What do you mean by that? Well, think about it. Whether Hayako-san got blood on her or not doesn't matter because we won't have her body. She died, didn't she? So it wouldn't change anything if blood was found on her. She was the victim, and we can't test any blood that got on her because we don't have access to her body. Oh, she's not wrong there. Rest in peace, Hayako. This is a toughie. It's true that the testimony has no physical evidence backing it. For all we know, Misato could be fabricating it on the spot, even though she most likely isn't. We need to add credibility testimony somehow. We already know for a fact that Misato's hair was in her bun. But what about everything else? Not like ice drawing shows and identifiable articles of clothing. Let's see. Any chance that I could show that the scarf did fall out at some point? or that she did wash blood off her scarf after the confrontation. Yeah, we'll just have to figure out. We should pull. What about the helmet? You were out on a scooter, then were you wearing a helmet at the time? I thought I was. Of course, I was wearing a helmet as well. After we got it to the end, though, we took them off. Usually I leave the helmets for my scooter, and that was before Hayako-san showed up. So I don't think that matters much. Yes, that makes sense. So she was wearing a tan outfit, huh? Do I have anything to show that this is true, I wonder? I'm assuming I'm to show something that proves it. If your hood fell off when you were running, then surely your scarf would have fallen or in the same way. Pretty sure it was still tucked in when I got to the shovel, but I could be wrong. A hood is different from a tucked scarf. The hood is basically a big scoop that catches air while you run forwards. The hood falling off as you run is very possible. On the other hand, the scarf wouldn't be subject to the same forces. For me to demonstrate, I can assure you that my scarf will stay put. I'm good. Save the character artist the effort of throwing a whole new set of sprites thing. I guess she's not wrong. When we saw the scarf just fall out, it doesn't make any sense. Is that everything? Yeah, I don't remember it falling out ever. Even out as I was facing Ayako and Shovel Lines, I'm pretty sure. Oh, they were to see that I was very tucked into your jacket. Yes, it was. I don't know why. I guess I tucked it back in at some point. I don't know. But yeah, she wouldn't have had any reason to untuck of it, would she? What, did you strangle her? Blowing doesn't help. This picture could. Maybe. This. Really proving the scarf exists. That's difficult. Like, that's probably the most difficult. Oh man, I'm gonna die again, aren't I? Okay, think. Any chance I could show that her scarf did fall out at some point? I thought maybe she like took a note. Here we go again. Back to the lab again. Think. The information was added, so I don't have any extra information to go off of. Lack of evidence is really getting to me. Like, usually I complain about having a lot of evidence, but this lacks worse. Lacking evidence is worse. Okay, let's think. Kudos up. A club, into a plan. Off, you know, the jacket. But it fell out. How did it fall out? It's like, surely it's like she wrapped it around neck, right? Stop the bleeding. No, but that wouldn't make sense because wouldn't have soaked. More like splatter happened. Okay, the question is now how. How? Do I prove? Do I prove that she had the scarf or she washed? Do I prove the scarf got out or do I prove that she washed the scarf? Those are the two important questions that I don't have answers to. Scarf is also red. I need to figure something out. Okay. Let's see, perhaps I can show them Misato did wash blood as well. Guys, I'm assuming I have to look at these statements. See if I can find something. Oops. Nope, right. I need to figure something out. I had to prove that she had what she said. Maybe we need to show that this is true, I wonder. No, I don't think we need to prove that she had outfits. It's more like we have to prove something. I need to prove something that I know of. How could it fall off? How could this scarf have fallen out? Yeah. Really, there must have been an altercation between them, right? Like, there must have been an altercation, like they should have had like a fight or something. That I can believe that they had a fight. I guess not. I think we saw the scarf just fall out. Okay, insane. No, I thought maybe they had a fight. This Black Clover is gonna be the death of me. Nope, okay. Maybe the drawing could help me, maybe, but it looks like I'm at the point where I might just like... I'm gonna lose myself. Nothing of use there. You have the shovel. I need to prove either the scarf is real. No, the thing is making up. I need to prove that there should be a way that, you know, affirming the scarf is there. And apparently she doesn't help either. I know this is helping me. I'm gonna go insane. Like, what's back here? What can I possibly need? What do I need? Like, they got into a fight. I just need to figure out. The shovel's not the solution again. Like, I think they got into a fight. I'm 100% certain that they got into a fight. But I don't know. Don't help. He has claws. Maybe she like pulled on her. I mean, it looks like she works out. You think with so little evidence you'd be able to figure something out eventually? The shovel this then? Okay, let's do this again. Back. Put me back in. Stop me back in, please. What could possibly be the case? I'm fully leaning into the fact they got into a fight. Guys, don't help you. Like, but I'm missing something. Give me evidence. Yeah, they've she died. All that's useful. Shovel, how a mask. Wait. But there's blood on the mask. She doesn't like blood, right? Oh, come on. Oh, there's blood in the mask. I'm like, oh, maybe you should, a mask and all that. Wait, is that the statement that she's like, oh yeah, she doesn't like blood? She hates the sight of blood, so. Yeah, but. Oh, okay, maybe she threw it off the cliff, yeah, maybe. I thought the mask would have something to do with this. Hey, looking at the drawing, you see blood dropping from the neck onto the clothing. That is something. There is something big. Like, shoot, come on, I'm thinking, like, the drawing has something to do with it, surely, right? But, like, what am I missing? What am I missing? I'm gonna go insane. Because surely they're going to fight. The question is now, how else? Hmm. Even in the... What am I missing? Okay, I think they got into a fight. They got into a fight. Surely they got into a fight. That's the only reason I can think the scarf would come out. Like, that's the only reason I can think is that they got into a fight. And then from there, if you look at the picture of Ayako, she does have sharp nails. And I can believe that she could have just like pulled it. And everything. What am I missing? What am I missing? I'm missing something. I don't know what. I'm gonna go insane. They got into a fight. How else? Doesn't help that the drawing doesn't have like the outfits and it's driving me insane. Wait. Do you think... Wait, the scarf's also red. Wait, do you think that maybe the scarf's on the other one? On, this one, the long trail of blood from the coming down isn't it? It's actually the scarf? Do you think that's the case? Wait. Your scarf is red? Is that really true? Yes? What's the matter? Well, you did imply that the red on the scarf is similar to the red of blood, since you said that you didn't notice the blood on your scarf at first. Which makes me think, somehow, I'm starting to get the feeling that we were wrong about the two people in Aichan's drawing. In Ai's drawing. What? What are you saying? If it isn't the victim and defendant, then who could that possibly be? According to what I've heard from the detective, nobody did check in to Otachuman in around the time of the crime. The rain would have discouraged the random passers-by around the time of the murder. But you go ahead, enlighten us. Could we really have been wrong the whole time? Who are the two people who are really depicted in Ai's drawing, both on the ground and standing up? Oh, it's Misato and someone else. Yeah, I think it's very clear that the person standing up is Misato. The hairstyle says it all. But the person on the ground? Can we be sure that this is Hayako? Like, despite the blood running down from the neck, I think it's about time we called this into question. And how is the scarf supposed to prove the victim isn't Hayako? Tell us your line of thought, if you even have one. Oh well, I just thought it would be a good chance for us to discuss the possibility of... Oh, really? If you want to discuss the possibility of the victim being someone else, you're going to need clearer evidence than that. I really do think that our story doesn't tell the whole story. I just have this feeling that it doesn't depict who we think. Could we really have been wrong the whole time? Who are the two people standing up? Is it really just them? At the end of the day, I think it's just on Hayako in this drawing. It's just as the prosecution said. It's unlikely that anyone else was at the scene of the crime at the time. Way obstructive, filibustering, time-wasting imbecile. What was the point of the tangent? Go back where we started, and so forth. I'd like to take a look at Ai's drawing again. We've talked about it a lot, but let's bring up one more thing. She was forgetful. Wait, could the roles be reversed? Do you think that she got hit in the head and she forgot? That's why she has amnesia, slightly? Misato, you said that your red scarf must have been exposed to at some point due to the blood on it, right? I think that makes sense. I don't see how else blood could have gotten on it. But the person on the ground, look, see the line of red on their body? What the bloody hell are you yapping about? We've already established that the red is the blood of Hayako's neck injury. Are you high? How's the weather up there? See, that's the funny thing. I definitely agree that it looks like blood. But given the new information from Misato, the more I look at the red scribble and the supposed victim, the more it starts to look like a scarf. What are you implying? This is my assertion. Even though it's Misato and Hayako in the drawing, we've been looking at the situation wrong the entire time. Despite the fact that I labeled the person standing up Misato ni, it seems to me like the person on the ground is the one wearing Misato's scarf. That would mean that the person who got struck down was actually Misato. Hayako is the one standing up in the drawing. That can't be. It's me on the ground. Believe it or not, I'm confident that it is. I really don't think you'd have the ability to kill Hayako, so it can only be you on the ground there. You know what that means? It means that Hayako struck back after Misato's attack and knocked her out. Misato was never the one who killed Hayako. Silence. The detective clearly stated that the defendant had her hair in a bun, yet the person on the ground has her hair in a bun instead. Explain that. Oh, she got hit in the back of the head. Look at the drawing. The person on the ground is sitting with their back against the pole. It means that Hayako pushed Misato back, which would be a tremendous amount of force on her back. Actually, Misato specified that her hair was clipped in place. Such an impact to the back of the head could easily have shattered whatever clip she was using to hold her hair in a bun. That's why her hair is down. Not only that, snap buttons, like the ones on Misato's jacket, could have been popped open by the same impact. The scarf didn't fall out. the jacket just undid itself. If that was the case, the detective would have found pieces of a hair clip at the end. There was no broken hair clip. The clip fragments. That's a good point. Why did Shima never find the clip fragments during her investigation? Oh, I might be able to provide an answer to that. Misato? The elevator that you went in is not made of asphalt. It's covered instead of gravel. And Shima-san said they have been raked regularly. Ugh. In other words, if Shima hadn't been looking closely, there's a good chance that she would have simply raked over such fragments, burying them in the gravel. Hang on, there doesn't seem any concrete evidence for this line of thinking. We have no way to verify that the victim ever did deflect the attack, nor do we have any definitive evidence of her striking back. She's not wrong. Assuming that Hayako is the one standing up in Ice drawing, that evidence shows that she managed to deflect or block the attack. If you think carefully though, after all, her blood did end up on the shovel. How do we account for that? Alright then, here's the evidence that shows that Hayako intercepted the shovel strike. Is it the shovel? Is it for the shovel? Actually, wait. Shovel didn't break entirely. Oh, okay, well. Okay, alright, just even show that I could. Nope. I'm actually gonna lose. I'm gonna lose on this somehow. I'm gonna lose on this. Okay. Because I was like thinking. I was thinking wrong apparently. I felt like it doesn't make sense. The drawing is both things now, right? But yeah, the shovel is bent. It's not broken. Just being attention back to the drawing I made. Notice how the person standing up is holding the shovel? Yes, but that could just be the defendant holding the shovel after she killed the victim, couldn't it? No, take a look at how the shovel's being held. Ah, the person standing up is holding the shovel by his head. The person standing up was the attacker. They'd be holding the shovel by the handle. But that's not what I see here. The person standing up is the victim, and she blocked the shovel strike with her bare hands. That's why her blood is on the head. Could it be the victim actually struck back against the assailant during the confrontation? But the head. I can accept that Ai-chan was confused about the downed person's hair color, but she seems pretty confident about the person standing up has brown hair in a bun. What's the explanation for that? You know, honestly, I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's some explanation for that as well. Might need some time to figure that out. But still, I'd argue that there's too many unanswered questions. There's not enough foundation to find my client guilty. Can you just like stop? Okay, never mind. I take it back. Cool your damned jets. Before you ask for a suspension of proceedings of whatever, I need to point one thing out. The timing of events. The timing of events? It's pretty clear that the defendant attacked first. The blood on the shovel suggests that she got at least one strike in before supposedly going down. However, that's a contradiction. Think about this for a second. According to you, Misato struck first, drawing Hayako's blood. Hayako struck second, exposing Misato's scarf. To that narrative, the blood splatter could not have gotten on the scarf. The scarf wasn't exposed at the time that Hayako was struck. The blood could not have come from the victim, is that right? I must remind this court that we have not proved that any scarf was ever involved in this crime. The defendant may very well be wrong, just like this entire narrative. That can't be. Makes sense to me. Fortunately, we still can't be sure that the sequence of events transpired as you described, defense. But couldn't the blood have come from Hayako after the fact? Like maybe it dripped from her wound onto the scarf. Yet the drawing depicts that the two standing in a fate distance apart. Even if Hayako approached the defendant described the blood pattern as a splatter, which could only have happened on the initial strike. What about Misato? Maybe the blood came from Misato after she was struck back. No, take a look at the defendant. If you notice, she doesn't have a scratch on her. Where do you suppose blood come from? Well, I think that the prosecution saying makes a lot of sense. I don't see the possibility of the blood on the scarf being the victim's if it was ever there at all. As for the defendant, it's true that I don't see any wounds on her, though I can't shake the thought that the wound healed since then, or is otherwise just somewhere that's covered up. In that case, I'm going to need her to testify about any injuries sustained after the confrontation. I'm confident that she'll come up with no results. We'll see about that. Misato-chan, please testify about whether you suffered any injuries or anything, okay? Injuries? Please tell me you got injured somewhere. What are my injuries? Well, my head kind of hurts. It's been hurting on and off since the incident. I also bruise easily, and I found a light bruise on my lower neck, right around my collarbones, though it's gone by this point. My ear's been hurting, although it might just be because I've been sitting around more due to the stress. I don't know. Oh, by the way, there was a tiny piece of glass in my scarf for some reason. I don't think it cut me anyway, though. Everyone else has been mental. I don't think I have any other injuries anywhere at all. Those injuries are all. It wasn't an argument. I was about to make defense. I leave it unattended for 5 seconds, and you try to steal it. Those elements about that defendant talked about, and the other type of result in the blood spillage. That this narrative was rubbish from the very beginning. The injuries are all consistent with the narrative that Misato was the one who was knocked out. It has to count for something. Irrelevant. It's just possible that the injuries are all related to the incident. We still have no physical evidence that Hayako ever struck back. If you're so insistent on continuing with this line of thinking, then show us the proof. The proof! It was that Hayako struck back. I don't know if I can produce this. This is going to be tough. Come on, gotta be something in here that I can use. I hope. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what could possibly be what we need. Why is your head hurting? Did you knock your head? Your head hurts? How? Like a headache? Sort of. It's like I feel a thumping on the back of my head randomly. It's really annoying. The back of your head? That's consistent with Hayako returning an attack based on ice throwing. You would have hit the back of your head on the light bulb. Damn it. Oh, the headaches are a result of the stress she's undergoing at the moment. Human bodies are fickle. We can't say for sure one way or the other. Ugh, can you quit being a wet blanket for 5 seconds? Seriously. Oh, I have 20 life points. I have to do this entire thing if I lose. A bruise on your neck? Can you describe the shape and size of the bruise? That one was invisible. It was vaguely circular, maybe the size of a baseball. Kinda big. I wonder if I could struck your back. Would that have been where she swung it at you? I think if the victim struck back hard enough to slam the defendant into the light bulb, I would have thought it would have left a more severe bruise. But that's just me. Wait, the lower neck would have been where Misato stuck scarf was, right? I wonder if scarf to be some of the shock of the impact. Your butt hurts? Is that what you're trying to say? Yes, like it's so. Sorry, I don't know how to say it. It's a nice drawing. You seem to have landed in a sitting position at the base of the light bulb. That adds up, doesn't it? You probably landed pretty hard on your rear. Oh, it's because you've been sitting around more, just like she said. Have you ever considered that possibility? Have you ever considered shutting up? I would very much enjoy you if you shut up. Where's the glass though? I don't know what the glass. You found glass in your scarf? Yes. I mean, yes. But it was just a tiny piece. I don't have it anymore. And why didn't you tell us this before? I'm sorry. Like I said, if I've already tossed it, I didn't think it would be useful information if I didn't have the glass fragment on hand. I have no clue where it came from, but it was embedded in my scarf like it was cutting into it. I just never noticed until I took a closer look. Wait a sec. Earlier you said you found a bruise around where your scarf must have been. Did the piece of glass have come from whatever Hayako struck you with? A shovel? Like what exactly? Were you implying that Hayako walked around with a glass weapon to hit random people with? And what's your foundation for that? Glass weapon. I mean, they all make weapons of the sort. Misato never described anything like that before, so... But that can't be. Maybe there was a wound on your back, or something that you couldn't see. I think with my weak immune system, any injury on my back would have gotten infected, so I would have noticed, unless I got lucky. Besides, an injury on the back would not have gotten blood on her scarf, which was on her front. Asking about such a thing is pointless. A physical injury that got blood on her scarf would have to be in place that she could easily see. Isn't there anything that I'm missing? Okay, I'm guessing that was a moment of stress. I'm out. Is this going anywhere? Because I don't think this is going anywhere. Huh? Well, it's been said multiple times already. Everything in this line of thinking has been assumptions. We've got no physical evidence for anything. But everything Misato's been saying is consistent with Hayako's striking back. I mean, I know there's alternate explanation for everything, but I'm not convinced that she's telling the truth. Remember, we're dealing with an amnesic witness, and there's still no explanation of where the blood on her scarf came from, if it ever existed. But, I knew it was inevitable. In the end, there was only one possible outcome. Everything since the defendant took the stand has been a waste of time. Any more futile thoughts, defense? I'm feeling generous, so I'll give you one more chance before I turn your whole argument into lukewarm chunks. Now, hang on a minute. I'd say we've found a lot of potential details to consider in the last few cross-examinations, and yet none of them are worth dissecting right now, because I can't be confident that you're finished telling the truth, especially since we still don't have an answer for the blood on the scarf. If she was telling the truth, then how did the blood get there? Answer that for me. Nothing, huh? Well, maybe you have evidence or witness to ask. I struggle to think of where else we can get information from. This is it. This is my last chance. Evidence or witness that could tell us more about whether or not there was actually blood on Misato's scarf. It's a specific thing to talk about. I hate to say it, but there's only one lead I can think of. Is it I? I'm gonna ask I. Hear me out. You know I's drawing? Want to look at the drawing again? Actually, no. I hate to suggest this, but I'm thinking we should call the artist of this drawing up. She might be able to help us out. You want to call Ai-chan? On what grounds? Well, I was waiting for Misato at the inn. I think she would have seen you take off your jacket and scarf, Misato. First of all, no. Second, I hate to break it to you, but Ai-chan was already asleep by the time I got back. Snap. The lack of Ai's profile on the court record should have told me that this would be nothing. So wait, it's not I? Then wait, is it? Then who? Then what? Who or what is it? Is it the shovel? Because you know the shovel in the picture is like not broken. Nope. Okay. Is it? Is the mask? Is the mask always question blood? No. Okay. Is it the? Well, I'm really putting a string to this point. It's not her. You can't question her. You can't lead. It's not the report. And I don't think any of these people are worth talking about besides her, maybe. Oh, what's wrong, Karuka-senpai? Have you thought of something? Oh, yes. Though I don't like saying it, but Misato, I want you to try to remember where the blood came from. Me? But I can't remember. Come on, think. You're the only one who can answer this. Just think, where did the blood come from? That's all you need to answer. Come on, please. Sorry, I'm trying my hardest, but it's not working. What do you think you're doing, defense? Amnesia doesn't work like that. She won't just remember stuff because it's convenient for you, you buffoon. I know, but nobody else can tell us about the blood in the scarf. It's us the only one. What should I do? Well, push harder, I guess. Misato, come on. I know you can do this. But Karuka-senpai, I can't. I'm too weak. Nonsense. You can do this. You have to. If you don't, then my life. Life? The defense was resorted to begging. I suggest we end this trial with dignity and with haste. Yeah, this is getting embarrassing. I'm gonna be honest, I agree with this. Kind of getting looks pathetic, kind of just begging someone. Like watching someone try to squeeze water from a rock. Kamoto Misato, can you or can you not recall the source of the blood on your scarf? If not, then I'm ending the charade. I'm too worthless. I'm so sorry. I wish I wasn't like this, but I can't. She can. She definitely can. The information is in her head somewhere. It's just hidden. There's gotta be a way to get it out. Yeah, begging so badly. Enough. This is absurd. Cease the splashing in this trial and find the defense in contempt of court. There's no more that can be done here. Misato, please. You have to remember. Oh my god, she's crying blood. Wait. Is this how we find out she's crying blood? I'm sorry. I can't. I'm sorry. Misato, are you alright? Hang on. Don't. If only I could help. But I'm too weak. Too pathetic. I'm sorry. I never should have agreed to this. I was never going to be of any assistance. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Huh? Defendant, your nose. Oh, dang it. This always happens when I'm under stress. I've got to get cleaned up. I can't let Aichan see me like this. Defendant, you're dismissed. Apologies for pushing you to this point. It's okay. Oh, jeez. I feel so lightheaded. Well, enough of that. This is the end. Yes, it seems it is. It's been long enough. I hate to pass down this verdict, but if there were any problems with the prosecution's case, the defense would have found them by now. We need to stop at some point, and this point is now. Kawamoto Misato? Nope. I got my answer. I know how the blood got in the scarf now. Suffered a nosebleed. What? We're just discussing how Misato's blood could have gotten on the scarf. He didn't have any open wounds, but it is possible they suffered a nosebleed during the confrontation. Well, there you go. This is the final piece of the puzzle, the explanation of where the blood on the scarf came from. But that means she was telling the truth. There really was blood on the scarf. Don't listen to this tosh. We still have no evidence substantiating any part of this narrative. It's all just an unproven hypothesis. And yet, it's also completely consistent. It must be considered at the very least. Don't you dare. The defense, from the ground up, your reconstruction of the confrontation is... You began the trial to answer one question. Was the defendant Kawamoto Misato responsible for killing the victim Mitsurugi Hayako? If the defendant's narrative of events is correct, then the defendant never killed the victim at all. It was the victim that killed the defendant. Killed, it got killed, because we don't know that happened. I mean, she's still alive. On the night of May 20th, around 9 PM. Ooh. Wait, are you the one known as Kawamoto Misato? Ooh. I have been looking all over for you. At this point, Misato was cornered. Her fight or flight response was triggered, but there was no chance of fleeing. All she could do was stand her ground and fight. So she did. The tactically wise thing and aimed for the neck, unfortunately for her. Oh, that's how it broke. Hayako was able to deflect Misato's attack, not without injury. That's how Hayako's blood ended on the shovel. At the same time, Hayako reflexively fought back and used her other hand to strike Misato, knocking her into the light bulb. The impact popped her buttons open and shattered her hairclip. Whether Hayako would have wanted to hurt Misato, or if it was really just as reflexive, I'm not sure. But at that point, I imagine everything happened too quickly to process. Oh, and she thought she must have killed her, and that's when she were to. And with that, Misato collapses to the ground, potentially unconscious and with a bloody nose from the stress, blood dripping to the scarf. Both her hair and scarf are exposed. That's what I saw. Wow. Wow, jump scared picture of Charles drawing. If that's what really happened, then Misato couldn't have been the one to kill Hayako. Hayako must have been able to walk away from the scene alive. Found it. Baseless, bogus, balderdash. None of this is worth considering at all. It's all pulled directly out of thin air. Not quite. Despite seeming extraneous, Misato's assessment was completely consistent with this narrative of events. How do you mean, defense? Care to break it down for us? Well, think back to the injuries he listed. The headache is consistent with the idea that the back of her head was struck hard enough to break her hairclip. You know, the bruise is consistent with her having been struck by Hayako, somehow leaving behind a glass shard. And not to mention, Misato's rear hurting is consistent with her collapsing to the ground in the way depicted in Ai's drawing. And then there's the blood on the scarf. The way I described is the only way the blood could have gotten on it. There's also the fact that she's physically weak. I can see how she could have been overpowered and knocked unconscious, even with an adrenaline rush. Impudent, gormless, block, you dare make a mockery of me? I do. It would be unjust to find Misato guilty at this point. There are too many unanswered questions, and it's reasonable to doubt that she's the killer. The court agrees, the narrative holds up surprisingly well. I find myself doubting the charge against Misato more and more. Of course, Misato isn't the killer. I don't know how Hayako died, but it was none of Misato's doing, and that's all that needs to be said. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. Before we go into anything else, can you text the defendant to check in on how she's doing, Karoko-chan? I have, and she's fine. It looks like she was just overwhelmed. She's gonna cleaned up already, and she's in the defendant lobby. She's a relief. I really hope I didn't actually open any metaphorical wounds by perishing. Sorry, Misato. I know how it feels. Excelente! That's certainly good news. It wouldn't reflect well on us if we had actually given her a panic attack or something. Now on to some bad news. While I don't really feel equipped to call Misato guilty, I also feel like I can't really call her not guilty either. There's still a few unanswered questions, like what could possibly have left glass in the scarf, if there ever was any, and if the person knocked out was really the defendant, then why does it look like the person standing up in Ai-chan's drawing is also the defendant? It's quite the conundrum. I'm wondering about those things too. Something doesn't add up. I must warn you not to get too carried away, defense. It looks like you're placing your narrative on the idea that the victim was able to perform a reversal, knocking out the defendant instead. While that's fine and dandy, if you can find more evidence for the time being, the blood and glass in the scarf are still unsubstantiated. There's still a chance that the defendant did knock down the victim, at least for a moment. Be careful. I suppose if it can't be helped. Don't get arrogant, Kuroshio. This is far from over, you'll see. One more thing. I know this technically isn't required to find Misato not guilty, but how did Hayako really die? With someone else? Or did she die through some other non-human means? That's something I'd like to know. I think this is like, super serious. I think she actually like jumped off the cliff. To that end, I say that this calls for more investigation. Both of you, get out here and find out the truth. Juliana demands it. Sure, see you tomorrow then, I take it. Tomorrow sounds good. I'll see you back in court then, Karoko-chan. See if you can find some evidence to really bolster your narrative, okay? I'll see you tomorrow too, miss. I'm sorry, I just realized that I never got your name, prosecution. Care to fill me in? My name is Amachi Enma. The name pops up again. The name keeps popping up. 8:29, 1:50 p.m. Defendant lobby. Misato? Misato, where are you? Are you alright? Over here, Karako-senpai. Oh, just a little nosebleed. Sorry I had to see that. No, I should be the one apologizing. I got desperate back there. Sorry for pushing you so hard. It wasn't all bad though. We managed to pull through without a guilty verdict. We have one more day to get our story in order. I'll probably head back to the same scene of the crime to look for more clues. You managed to get out of that pinch? Oh, that's a relief. Oh wow, I thought I was done for. Thank you, Karako-senpai. It was definitely a close one. Unfortunately, we've been gifted a second chance to win the case. I just hope we can make it count. But, you mentioned something about your life back there. Did that have anything to do with your desperation? What was that all about? Oh, that. Don't worry about it. I would hate for you to have another thing to stress out over. Please, tell me, senpai. It was a matter of life and death. Life and death? Yeah, maybe this will make things clearer. Is this a contract? Yes, it's a contract between me and the prosecutor, Amachi Renma. The goal is to prove that Hayako was not killed by human influence, including justifiable self-defense. I have until about noon of May 31st to do this, or I lose. That means either I have to show that she was killed in self-defense, or I have to show that she died via some other means, perhaps damno fatale. Damnum fatale? An act of fate, essentially. Something that couldn't have been foreseen or avoided. I've got to show that it was either that or self-defense. And what happens if you can't? Terms upon winning and losing are on the second page of the contract, but I left it at the end. I don't want to look at it. If I win, then might leave me alone forever. If I lose, well, then Haruko-senpai? Are you okay? You've turned pale. I mean, I wanted to die, but my life? Never mind then, Haruko-senpai. I think I get the idea. Your life as you know it will effectively be over if you lose. I understand. Shut up. Why is this evidence? Why is this evidence? So that means why you pushed me so hard and why you immediately rejected the plea bargain. I get it now. You would have lost this agreement instantly if you had taken the plea bargain. But why? Why would you agree to terms like this severe? Do you really consider this a fair contract? I know it sounds wrong. It feels right. This contract is the best way to get rid of Renma, and I will win. Terms are this severe because the situation is severe. Someone was killed, someone had to pay in turn, and the target is you. I'm basically binding myself with you by taking your case. Destinies have been intertwined. Oh, I'm sorry, Karuka-senpai. It's all because I acted so hastily. Not your fault. There's a lot more to the situation than what's apparent at first glance. And yeah, I thought my situation was serious. You got it so much worse than me. I feel sorry for complaining about it now. No, don't worry. Your situation is bad too. Mine also being bad doesn't make yours less valid. We're both in serious trouble right now. So, is no contract with terms like that enforceable? There has to be some sort of law against such serious terms. Maybe you should get the police involved at all. No, sorry. I didn't mean to frighten you. But the police absolutely cannot be involved. It's all up to me. If I get the police involved, I forfeit the contract. I don't understand. But okay, I trust you. Well, I guess you don't come to Numazu just to save me after all. You didn't come to Numazu to save me after all. I'm sorry. It's alright. I know your situation is really desperate and important, but I want to help you too. If you're going to go look for clues, let me go search with you. Please, Karoko-senpai. How could I say no to that? But do me a favor, will you? Can you just call me Karoko from now on? Want me to stop calling you senpai? Why? Oh, okay, I'll try my best, Karoko. Thank you. Come on, let's go. Okay, there's so much more to this case than meets the eye. There's so much more to this. I really thought that the Haruko, whatever his name is, and and the Arashirema, the prosecutor, were the same person. Because I'm like, oh, maybe after the chameleon incident, I wouldn't put it past them to put another disguise villain as someone. But yeah, I definitely think that this case is more than meets the eye. I think that basically this case has a very serious topic at hand. I feel like either he thought the Haruko thought that she killed um, Misato, and then she's like, "Oh no, I can't do this." And then she was trying to dump Misato, but then she's like, "Oh, she's alive," and then she felt so guilty by that she jumped off the cliff. Moral of the story is, I don't know if that's the plot, but I feel like she probably took a dive, in a literal sense. But yeah, anyways, I really, this was difficult, but I really enjoyed the difficulty. I'm gonna end the video off here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe if you want to see more of this. And I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.